Homie bracket!
Till Death is a 2021 horror thriller starring Megan Fox, and it is also a Netflix film. Megan Fox starring in this definitely got me curious, as well as the fact that it's a horror film. Megan Fox hasn't really been in that much stuff. Let's be honest, she hasn't been in stuff in over a decade with like the Transformers movies, then of course Jennifer's Body. So over a decade not working and everything, and from what I've heard, she was someone that kind of retired from acting. So to see her going back to acting, I was very curious for sure, and especially in this genre. And that was all I knew about going into this movie, was what I just mentioned. And I have to say, even still, I was quite disappointed by Till Death. Till Death is a movie that has a lot of potential, and I do want to talk about the positives first. The first thing is Megan Fox's performance starts off very iffy, and I'll get more into that in the negatives, but it starts off iffy, but it progressively gets better. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that early on, she's given a lot of dialogue, and just the execution of the dialogue, in addition to the dialogue itself, just wasn't good, and it was very cringeworthy. But as the movie progressed, she had a lot less dialogue and a lot more facial expressions to really kind of convey that acting. And I thought that she did a good job with that as the movie progressed. So it's a performance that starts off again iffy, but it progressively gets better. And I think that really she does have a lot of potential with future movies. Again, I haven't really seen much of her, but definitely has potential in that regards. The cinematography is also quite beautiful. I actually really dug it. I really liked that isolated, icy look to it. I thought it was quite effective. I did like the camera angles. The color palette is the usual, Netflix juiced up color usage that I think works for this movie for sure, especially given the tone. Like, it's definitely a serious tone, and I think that it matches that, especially with the icy look to it and everything. So props again to the cinematographer and the directing. Honestly, this is a first-time director, and he did a good job. I definitely see himself getting more work because he definitely knows how to make a movie swift and fast-paced. And I got to give him props for that. Again, he's someone that clearly is talented, but unfortunately, this is going to lead me into the negatives. It's competently directed and it's competently filmed, but unfortunately, we have a movie that has quite a lot of issues. The first thing is going back to the acting of Megan Fox. Early on, Megan Fox's acting is not good at all. And the dialogue itself is something that kind of permeates throughout the movie. Not with Megan Fox's character, because as I mentioned, her character progressively got less and less dialogue. But there's other characters in the movie, and those characters have a lot of dialogue, and it just is not good. Particularly the husband character. That husband character, holy cow. Not good. Not good in the slightest. And that's something that I usually don't have a criticism with. I usually don't critique dialogue, and I usually don't critique acting. But this movie kind of pushed me to that because, again, it just does not work, especially with what the filmmaker's trying to go for. So I think that's something that, again, if a director like this has a better, script, honestly, could progressively do a lot better. And that's why, again, I have hope for him. But it's not even just that. The script itself is very derivative. And I think that it's a mix of like Gerald's Game meets Panic Room meets The Shining. And it's not even close to being as good as any of those movies. And it comes down to you're dealing with villains that are so campy and over the top, but they play it very straight, very serious. And it just does not work. The motivations also just are very lacking, and you definitely get it verbally. Like, again, this movie has a lot of verbal exposition, but it's something that just doesn't really interest you because, again, you can't help but watch it and say to yourself, I've seen this done much better. And honestly, those movies, what makes them better isn't necessarily the fact that it's like the story. It's the fact of the execution of such. There's a lot more trust in the audience of telling it through the visuals and being able to put 2 and 2 equals 4, not literally the director saying 2 + 2 equals 4, or I should say the scriptwriter, because again, the directing, I would say that's more of like he kind of had to, because again, it's a Netflix studio movie. But not even just that, I also thought that towards the end, it just got really, really ridiculous. And not in like a revenge type of way, that 2018 movie, not in a way where it was like, holy cow, this movie's crazy. It was more of a kind of way, if that makes sense. And in addition to that, you really, really, really have to watch this movie and say to yourself, this movie is very, very thin on plot, story, and characters. And again, if those 3 things are something that you really care about, then you're going to have a difficult time liking this movie. As for myself, again, I liked some aspects simply because, again, I really am into filmmaking. But besides that, there really isn't much to offer for this movie. And that's why, for me personally, Till Death, I'll be giving Till Death a 2 out of 5 star rating. Again, I have to preface this, before I preface this, it doesn't get a hot sauce rating. Again, it's under 3 out of 5 stars, so it doesn't get a hot sauce rating, which is, part of my system. But going back to my preface, Again, I feel like this director has a future. I definitely see him being able to do other stuff and probably a lot better. It just kind of comes down to, again, script, characters, and those are things that, he didn't really have a say in, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, guys, till death, let me know your thoughts. Did you like it? Did you not? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And as always, don't forget the subscription, notification bell, and all that. Catch you guys later.